I acted as a whistleblower a few years ago regarding multi-million-dollar fraud at a house of worship that was connected with one of the biggest financial names in the world. I faced a 130-year charge and 150-year charge over that, basically to shut me up, get me to quit asking questions and quit talking about what was going on there. And while I was incarcerated beating that charge, I ended up meeting somebody who, as fate would have it, ended up having a lot of inside information on the George Floyd situation when that kicked off. When I had gotten out of jail and gotten out from under the incarceration, I also became involved in a candidate for the Democratic primary of 20 last year. So at this point, I'm sitting on three major information on three major situations that these people in the alternative, progressive, left media are all over. They're reporting all about it all the time. They're making all this money off it all the time, but they are not actually giving you any facts on it. So I started to give these people facts. I started to feed them information. I started to feed them what I was being fed and what I already knew. And not one of these outlets ever said, well, what you have is bunk, it's bogus, it's no good. They all knew it was the goods. And they all specifically punked out because they said they still wanted to believe in this candidate and they were scared of the police. Once I realized that outlet after outlet was not going to produce any of this information that they are pledged to the public to do, I just started to investigate them, and I uncovered a connected collective. The network it's mostly filled with failed comedians and other media washouts. The posse member August Deluge had labeled them the idiot ecosystem, and that kind of picked up some traction. A lot of people have been rolling with that. But as a result of these discoveries and investigations and et cetera, one by one I started to go through this ecosystem, which included Convo Couch, which included Kim Iverson, which included the Nico House, Slow News Media, all these people. It turned out that they're all connected. I'm seeing they're more and more interconnected in a very public manner. It's kind of coming out of the closet. So as I'm investigating now, Convo Couch, Slow News Day, the rest of these people, I come across an article online by Jenna Beck, on her what is called Undercover News Magazine, online publication. I contacted her about the article she had published regarding Convo Couch. We started to engage in pretty extensive online communication. She was telling me her theories about what was going on, and I was providing her with my evidence. She had some court documents that seemed to back her up, so I secured her an interview with John Brissom, respected and renowned online researcher John Brissom. I got her an interview on his show, We've Read the Documents channel, and you can check Jenna Beck's media. Before I got her on there, nobody listened to a thing she said. Nobody cares what she says. Afterwards, she got a little bump, and now that I'm not messing with her no more, she's back to nobody paying attention to her stuff. So it's not my opinion. You can just go look at the numbers on her own stuff, how much people paid attention to her. We got like 1,500, 2,000 views on that video we put out, which ain't exactly breaking the bank, but that was 1,500 more than she's ever got. So during this interview, she made some pretty wild claims. She claims Karen Bernal and her mystery billionaire backer are the people behind the Jimmy Dore ecosystem, that entire, the people that I had been exposing for a while. And I tried to, say like, well, actually they're all on Rockfin. It looks like that's maybe got more to do it. And I'd say, oh, well, what about the MPP in these things? And she's like, no, she's bound and determined that it's Karen Bernal, and we'll get into that later in the video. But she's publicly named Karen Bernal over and over again as the mastermind behind her millionaire or billionaire mystery backer and all of her political ambitions and actions in Southern California, or in Northern California too. I guess it's a state caucus. So I just kept on doing what I was doing, which was exposing this system. Now Jenna Beck and her friends, if she has any, or the people that she claims are her friends, They said they've been doing the same thing, but they've never had any results. Nobody's ever seen anything that they've done other than her wild claims about Karen Bernal and some of these other claims we'll get into. But, you know, a lot of people now are liking to say, like, I exposed this, I exposed that. And they didn't, you know, if you check into it, they didn't do any of that. But I am the person who exposed in real time that Jimmy Dore and the MPP were running a scam when they did their hashtag Force the Vote rally. I'm the person that petition page they had there. I'm the person that exposed in real time during his broadcast in his own chat section that what that actually was a scam so that they could pull people's personal information, put it into their MPP files and say like, oh, now suddenly we've got like 150,000 new members or whatever. And they had their personal information that they could keep and sell off to other people. I'm the person that exposed the financial shenanigans that it's too deep to go into there. We put out other videos, but I exposed this on Jimmy Dore's in all these people's own chats. So it's no like, I don't know, did they not? Is he bullshucking? Just go look for yourself. I'm the person that exposed Steph Zamorano, who is Jimmy Dore's wife, at least was. I don't know if she still is the biggest donor to the MPP. And I just there's a bunch of other stuff that I kept exposing. And finally I had beat the brakes off them so bad that I moved on to Max Blumenthal, their supposed gold standard in independent journalistic integrity. I beat the brakes off of him. So I'm busy doing what I'm supposed to be doing, which is taking these people down online. Jenna Beck is busy doing what she's doing, which is absolutely nothing. But when we had first started talking and she was, I really want to take these people down. They've hurt me so bad. They've done all this and that to me. I said, all right, well, I've obviously got the goods to take them down. I'm taking them down from across the country online, and I'm not even in their face that much. Why don't you say you've got all these connections, find somebody who's got an office space for a month, bring me out there. I'll pay my own way out or whatever. I'll get out there. We'll take care of these people. We'll expose this stuff, and it'll be done. It'll be done in a month. It doesn't need to, linger on and on and on and on. And she's like, oh, I want to, but I don't know anybody like that. I don't know anybody who's got any situations like that. And I was like, if, it doesn't have to be, we don't have to rent something. If somebody's got like space, we can just use it for an office for a month. And she said she didn't have anything like that, so I just left it alone. About a month later, when I told her, or maybe even more than a month later, and once again, this stuff is all in our emails. So, if Jenna Beck wants to deny any of this and say that this didn't happen, let's just release the emails and we'll see what happens. Everybody can see for themselves what's up, because I don't got nothing to hide about that. Now, she emailed me and says, in the email, she's like, okay, my son moved out. When are you coming to move in? When can you get here for a month? That's not what I had originally asked her for. I said, I came at her with a business proposition. Do you know people with a space I can use, conduct my investigation, take these people down, and then leave? That's it. And she comes back, she wants me to stay in her personal house. And I'm like, I probably, this was my mistake. I shouldn't have trusted this person, but I said, all right, I'll do it. And I was up front. Once again, the emails are all there. I told her my situation. I'm a whistleblower like 3 times over. I'm buried financially. I don't have any money. I'm a step off of being homeless, man. I don't, I can't come out there and like finance your stuff. I can barely finance my stuff. I paid a price for standing up and doing what was right. So she says, yeah, just come on out and you can stay here for a month. My son had just moved out, and that's going to be where I'm going to drop this part of this of the conversation at here, because a lot of things happened, and she started to put a bunch of videos out about me, and we're going to take a look at those videos. And when we get into those, I want you to keep your eyes and your ears open for a couple of things. There's pantomimes and tells when people are lying. Some of them are obvious, like the eyes blink, and look for her eyes when she's blinking. One of her personal tells you can see is she covers her mouth and she looks away. When she's trying to be all dramatic and act like there's something she's really heard about and she wants to turn on the waterworks, it's these long, dramatic pauses. Cover the mouth, look away, like she's really trying to desperately think of what positive, powerful message to bring to you next. The other time she gets a snarky little look on her face. There's the vocal tells where if you listen to her, she says, literally, it's literally. How many times are you going to say literally? We get it. You're trying to impress upon people that what you're saying, which clearly ain't true, and you contradict yourself. You just want them to take it as a fact, so you just keep saying literally, 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 so people think that what you're saying is, or even if they don't think what you're saying is true, you just bogart your way in there. And then if you hear this other, the last one is, I can't even. How many times you hear this person go, I can't even, followed like by the same pantomime laugh, like 2 or 3 chuckles each time. It's the same thing, because these aren't genuine reactions to the situation. These are her pantomimes, which are telling you that she's lying, and that woman is constantly lying. So let's get into the video and find out.
There are a lot of us who have done a lot for activists in the community, right? And we're like trying to help each other out, and like, I have a spare room right now, right?
What you initially told me is that your son was going to basic training, so that's why you had a room open. What eventually came out while I was there is you said that, and this needs to be clarified, this woman, Jenna Beck, starts drinking hard alcohol from the moment she wakes up until the moment she passes out at night. You can hear it in her videos. You can, I mean, if you conversate with her, you can tell she's stupid, sloppy drunk. She don't drink water. She don't drink. I was with this person for 2 weeks. I can tell you, they get up, they start drinking hard alcohol the minute they awake till the minute they go to sleep. So she told me that her son had went on to basic training, and that's what was that her son said her son and his wife moved out because they said they couldn't deal with her. She said that her son was everything she says about me, like he trashed the place and he didn't do his fair share and he owes her all this money. And she said one time when she's really drunk and she's slipping, she's like, and my son, the reason he moved out is because he said I hit him, that I punched him closed fist. I've never hit anyone in my life. I've never been in a fight in my life. That's what you said. But you told me that your son said you socked him in the face, closed fist, and that's why I moved out. And you also said that him and his wife said because you're too drunk all the time, constantly, and you drive drunk everywhere you go, they didn't want you around their new baby. That's what you told to me. So this whole like room just opened up in your house. Nah, tell them the truth. You drove your son out with your drinking and your violence, and they won't let you see your grandchild because of the way you are.
Right? Like, I have a spare room, so I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help people out, and I just rearmed my system. I finally got rid of this fucker. I can't even, you guys. I can't even. Okay, so I did a podcast a while ago. By the way, I'm not a journalist. I don't know how to protect whistleblowers.
You just heard it straight from the horse's mouth right there. Jenna Beck says she's not a journalist. The only way I know about her is because she claims online that she's a journalist and an activist and et cetera, but she claims she's a journalist at the undercovermagazine.com. That's how I found out about her. She had published an article making a lot of accusations about Convo Couch and et cetera. That's how I initially found her to contact her, was based off the article that she published. But what you can hear her saying there is, I don't know how to protect whistleblowers. So this is the kind of greaseball you people are dealing with. Somebody who on the one hand will say, you know, I'm an activist, I'm a journalist, I'm with the people, I'm a progressive, I'm a leftist. But then when it's time to carry those ethos across the finish line, she says, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to protect people. I'm going to get petty. You just heard her say that she's not a journalist, even though she runs around portraying herself to everybody as a journalist through her online outlet that is hers. That's not somebody else's platform. That's her website. And she's a journalist when she wants to, you know, have people try and get people to take her seriously, but she's not a journalist when she wants to out whistleblowers.
No responsibility to that. I did a podcast like a month ago, and this dude, I'm not going to drop his name. I will go that far as to not drop his name, but said he was going to look into this whole MPP bullshit. He wanted to come out here and, you know, look into the MPP bullshit. So I'm like, okay, I got a spare room because my son just moved out. He's like enlisting.
Now, Jenna Beck has a big problem with recognizing and respecting reality. But the source is here is herself, so you don't have to like take my word for this stuff. You just heard her admit, but she tried to wrap it in a whole different package that she invited me out there. It was just like I told you. Way before I had said, if you can get an office space, I can come out there and deal with these people. She said she couldn't do it. She tells me then that her kid went off to basic camp, and I tell her up front, I don't have no money. You know, it's not a real good situation for me financially, but I can still get out there and do what I got to do. And she said, come out. So I got the money together, thanks to the posse, and I went out to LA.
I let this guy enter my world. Oh my God, what a fucking mistake. The first week went pretty well. In fact, like, he was very cordial to me. He was very cordial to my mom. He wanted to meet my brother. I'm so glad I didn't do that, you guys.
I never met her brother. I didn't ask to meet her brother. The only thing I know about her brother that she told me was that when her grandmother died, all the grandkids got enough money that each one of them bought a house, I guess. And that's how Jenna, you know, you can hear her throwing the calling me homeless and trying to throw it in my face like, I have a home, I have a home. What she told me is her grandma died and she was able to take that money and buy a house with it. And the only thing I know about her brother is that she was constantly making fun of him because apparently he didn't buy a house with that money. And she talked about how irresponsible it was and how he's a bum and all this stuff. But, you know, I don't know anything about her family other than I want to state this very clearly. I did meet her mama. It was her mama's birthday, and her mama asked me to come out there for her party. She's a nice lady. To be honest, meeting her and her friends who are mostly elders, and there's a guy around my age in the neighborhood there, that was like the best time I had there. I don't go out to the clubs. I don't care about that stuff. I really enjoyed meeting her mama. That was, and spending that day with her on her birthday. That was the coolest part about the whole deal. That was the coolest part about Jenna Beck, to tell you the truth. So she talks about her family. It's like everybody else that she knows. She's constantly putting down anybody who's not right there in her face. So her and her house and her brother and her family and all of that, you know, if anybody thinks that what I'm saying isn't true, go ask her mama. You go ask her mama what she thinks about her own daughter and, you know, what she thought about her guests that came out there. Because she's been knowing that goofball, greaseball for her whole life. I'm sure she can tell you about what a wreck Jenna Beck is. But I don't know nothing about her family other than apparently she was abusive to her son and his wife. So they bailed out of safety concerns for themselves and their kids. She has a horrible relationship with everybody in her family except her mama. And apparently her brother is the same, you know, he didn't have a house, or he didn't buy the house with the money that she got from her inheritance. So that's her rationale for putting that dude down.
I'm glad I did not let him meet my brother. I can't even. Dude, oh my God. The first thing I started noticing is like, I would look at my fridge and like my cabinets, and they were like getting bare. They were like, he was okay, so he was a Muslim dude, and he was like going through Ramadan, so he's like kind of fasting during the day, not all.
As far as the food, you guys already heard me say, and it's in the emails. If you don't like it, Jenna Beck, go ahead and release them and let everybody see for themselves. But that'll be another headache that I don't think you want. But I know if you want to play it to the bone, we'll find out. Let everybody know. I told you I didn't have money. I had to do what I had to do to get the money for the plane ticket. You told me to come out there. You got me. When I got there, you said eat whatever you want in the fridge and the cabinets. The reason your cabinets started looking low is because you're trying to get me to eat your old stuff in there. Stuff from like 5, 10, more than 10 years old that's expired. That's what you wanted to charge me rent for? That's what you're complaining to people because I threw out food that was over 10 years old that I wasn't going to eat? You're a disgusting person, Jenna Beck. Your house is disgusting. When I got there, the first minute I walked into the room that you were going to have me stay in, your cat was in there. He's a nice cat. I give him a pet. But the rest of your house, it obviously hasn't been cleaned since before You started holding yourself up in there in the pandemic. But there's cat hair everywhere. There's filth everywhere. There's dirt everywhere. I had to ask you where the vacuum cleaner was to try and clean the place up. I had to actually clean the place up because it's disgusting. You just sit there and get drunk all day in your disgusting hovel. And when you brought me in there, you got a lot of nerve bringing up my religion, Jenna Beck. You're a piece of trash. And I heard the things you said about your so-called Muslim friends. We're going to get into that, and they're going to get to know what you said about them, Jenna Beck. But don't you ever bring up my religion and think that it's going to just slide. Because I stopped praying and fasting. That's the only time in my life that I ever stopped mid-prayer. Because we're not supposed to pray in a room that there's a toilet in there. And I started praying and I realized there's cat litter everywhere. It's like all over the floor. And then I put two and two together. That's why the cat was in there when I came in, when she picked me up in the airport. Because the cat's litter box had been in that room, and he was probably in that room looking like, where is my litter box? Where do I do my business at? But she had moved it. But she never bothered to clean the place up, so there's cat litter all over the floor. And this is the only time in my life that I ever stopped prayer and didn't finish a prayer, and I just had to ask, Lord, forgive me, because we can't pray in rooms where there's toilets, man. Expired food, cat litter box room, broken bed, dealing with her drunk stuff constantly. This is what she wanted to charge me rent for. So let's keep it going.
Always. In fact, half of the time he wasn't. And then he was clearing out my cabinets at night. He would like wake up in the middle of the night and just fucking eat. Like he was eating everything. He's eating everything, you guys. That's fine. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm don't have a lot of money, so it's not totally fine. It's not totally fine. I can't afford to support this guy, right? And he also said that he was going to give me $500 to cover the rent for staying here for a month. And instead, one weekend, he's like, I need $50 because I have a weed habit.
As far as I know, CBDs is legal in every state. It's a totally natural, legal way to treat yourself medicinally. And at one point I told her, look, you get yourself medication. I have to sit around here. You just get drunk all day. It's your house. You do what you want. But I need something for myself. Can you spot me $50? And she did. She spotted me $50. So that is true. I borrowed $50 from her to buy some CBDs. That's true.
So instead of getting $500, I spent $50 and however much in groceries and water and everything else to let him live here, right? Oh my God, even. But then, okay, so on top of it, he's like, he says he's Chicano. He is super misogynistic, right? He's like super misogynistic.
So now you just saw some of the naked racism of Jenna Beck come on to display. And if you know this person at all, you already know how she is. She's a racist. She's a classist, an elitist. She's a sexist. And she's not smart enough to back up the crazy assertions that she puts out there with anything credible. So she gets the little catchphrases and the code words, so she calls people misogynistic. She talks about patriarchy. She talks about LGBT, this and that, because those are code words that she can hide under and be like, they're being misogynist to me. It's the patriarchy. No, Jenna Beck, you're a drunk loser with absolutely no results to show for anything that you've done your entire life, other than have a condo that your grandmammy paid for.
The guy, so he starts like trying to boss me around in my own fucking house. And I'm like, I mean, you're a house guest. What are you even fucking doing? And he's insulting me. He also is anti-vaxxer, right? And he was constantly invading my personal space and like touching me, slapping me and stuff.
Once again, Jenna Beck, You know, there's emails between us, there's phone calls between us where I told her before I ever came out there, I'm like, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, and she knows this. I've been vaccinated for plenty of things in my life. I don't trust what's going on because it hasn't been vetted, blah, blah, blah. We all know the risks that are associated with taking what they're calling a vaccine right now. So there's no anti-vaxxer. That just goes along with her patriarchy and misogyny labels that she can throw out there because she thinks it rallies support for her side. Now, we're going to get into something very, very serious. You just heard Jenna Beck claim that I touched her and I would slap her. I take that very serious. You can tell she don't take it serious because you're watching the video, but I take that real serious, that kind of accusation. Jenna Beck just told you guys, and she said it earlier in the video, that I was cordial the first week and got along great, met her mammy and all that stuff. And now she's telling you that I was hitting her and slapping her. When I was leaving, because Jenna Beck couldn't control herself and she kept coming back to the room where I'm trying to pack up and harass me and try and start some stuff, I told her, I'm like, look, man, just leave me alone. You've asked me to leave. I'm leaving. If you won't leave me alone, I'm going to record this for your and my protection. I want you to listen to what this recording says right now.
You're drunk and abusive and you can't keep your hands off me. You can't control your words. I get it. Why'd you put your hands on me?
You literally were putting your hands on me, dickwad.
I've never put my hands on you.
Yes, you did.
When was that? When was that?
Throughout the first week you were...
So you just heard Jenna Beck completely contradict herself. She lied to you. She told you people I hit her and I slapped her. And you heard her early in the video say, well, the first week it was all gravy. I was very cordial. I was nice to her mama. Everything was going good. And then you just heard her right there in her drunken rambling accuse me of the entire first week couldn't keep my hands off of her. Jenna Beck, you just accused me of assaulting you, a man assaulting a woman, and you just got busted out for being the stinking, filthy, pathetic, drunken, cowardly liar that you are. But we gave you a platform when we put you on, we read the documents, and you made all those accusations about that Tim dude. And then you put out other stuff later. You published text between you and him. I don't even know if that's legal, talking about how he had some wild, drunken, drug-fueled escapade that ended up with some tranny love. You put that out there, Jenna Beck. He didn't put out that. I didn't put that out there. You put that out there, Jenna Beck. You put his business out there. And your buddy Don Ford, you got a problem. Because Jenna Beck is going around telling people that you raped her. Jenna Beck was constantly talking about her sex life to me and how much sex she's having with all these different Democratic people and whatnot. And I'm like, I would just tell her, I don't want to know. It's not my business. I don't care about this. It's not what I came for. I don't want to know about this. And she just kept on with it and kept on with it. And within the first couple nights of me being there, she started in with Don. And I'm like, because she'd already said they'd had this affair and he's married. So she's trying to, like, you know, bust him out with a double whammy or whatever. And I'm like, Jenna, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. It's not my deal. And she said, okay. And then she goes, but then as soon as she says that, she goes, but I just tell you this, Don raped me. He raped me. And I'm just like, Jenna, I told you I didn't want to know about this. And that's a really serious charge. So now we got to address this. Did Don Ford rape you? And you said, well, he hurt me in rough sex. You said, oh, it was a rape play, rough sex thing that he sprung on me and did it in a way that I didn't understand and it hurt me. And you said that he was doing various things to try and cover up the affair you guys were having because you were out on your little Bernie journey or whatever, tooling around across the country. You said that I slapped you and touched you, and that just got proven to be a lie. You said to me, Don Ford raped you, and then you repeated it, and then when I pressed you on it, you said it didn't happen. So this Tim guy that you're in and out of court with, is any of the accusations you make against him true? You are a filthy, pathetic charade of a human being. You're a walking, drunken lie. And you crossed the line big time. Who can ever trust you after this? And this goes back to what a fake feminist you are, because you're not about confronting misogyny or patriarchy, because when the Tara Reid thing came up, you got that same stupid fake feminist scowl on your face whenever they get called out on their bullshucks, and you said, the evidence wasn't there. The evidence wasn't there. So nobody can trust you with anything, Jenna Beck. You'll lie about people assaulting you. You'll lie about men raping you. You'll put out other people, so you're supposed to be like Miss LGBT. You put out that other dude's tranny love tweets. Nobody should trust you with anything. You are a menace.
And so, and he watches really bad television, like old 70s shit, just like Rockford Files, and just like dominating my television with all this crap. So one night he's making me watch sports. We were watching all kinds of weird sports all week, right? One night he's making me watch sports, and it's like this strong arm thing. And I was looking at the dudes on television, and they have these weird bulging like neck muscles. So I reached over and I said, because he's an MMA fighter, you guys. So I reached over and I'm like, do you have a muscle like that? He has, ever since that happened, acted like I sexually assaulted him for...
Once again, notice the language she's intentionally employing. I'm dominating her TV. I made her watch this stuff. Your game is lame and you're stuck on stupid, Jenna Beck. The truth is, I was sitting there watching, I'm trying to avoid her because she's off talking about her Democratic, her little conspiracies. I'm just sitting there trying to watch TV and relax. She comes over, she's sitting there next to me, and you see how she like touched her shirt, and when she says that, what she's not telling you is she grabs the collar of my shirt, pulled it to the side down, and tried to stuff her hand inside my shirt and feel my neck and my shoulders and my chest. And I jerked my shoulder away. I'm like, I just look at her like, what are you doing? And it's at night, so she's like super sloppy drunk by then. And she realized that she took it too far, and she kind of gets up and stumbles into the kitchen to fix another drink, and she's like, well, I'm sorry, but... And then she goes into all this, I'm sorry, but... You're a freaking predator, woman. I never did anything like that to you. You grabbed me. Because you're a lustful, drunken punk that can't keep her freaking hands to herself. You tried to put me some kind of desperate housewife situation that you thought I was going to give it up to you? You're disgusting. No way. But we can tell right now, think about all those people that are going to come after this, what you hear right now, and how much it's just going to be that much harder for them as a victim to say, hey, this happened to me, because people like Jenna Beck will throw accusations like rape and sexual assault and assault around for nothing. She should have just kept her mouth shut. She didn't have to put all this stuff out about me, but she's drunk, she's miserable. All she does is sit in her house and drink all day. So she just keeps talking about me every day. She's putting out videos. She's trying to contact my peoples. Lady, my peoples don't like you. Nobody likes you.
For looking at his neck. I just kicked him out. I don't know where he's going to go. He might end up like as a homeless person in Aliso Viejo. That mightn't...
Now you can hear her. It's that elitism creeping back in. I guess he's going to be homeless now. I want y'all to let that sink in. She intentionally brought me out there. She didn't bring nothing out. I paid my own way out there. She had me come out there to do a specific, like I said what I was about, and I said what my plan was, and we made agreements, and we were going to stick to that. She broke all those agreements. And right there, you see her, like, after she did me dirty this whole time, she's like, I guess he's going to be homeless. You're a real homeless advocate there, Jenna Beck. Just like you're a real advocate for sexual assault victims, huh?
Entirely happened. But he was incredibly disrespectful to me in my home, was treating me like the little woman, like his opinion mattered more. And what the straw that broke the camel's back for me is that yesterday when I was on the phone with Ajamu Makalani, he literally came out into the living room so he could eavesdrop on the entire conversation. He says, no, I was just eating. Well, his meal of peanut butter and jelly sandwich or whatever the fuck it was, his meal consisted of an hour and a half long for the exact length of period that I was on that phone call.
Yeah, about that peanut butter, we're going to have a little image for you at the end of the video. You can take a look at the expiration date on that food. She was trying to charge me $500 a month to stay there. Actually, I was only there for 2 weeks. She's trying to get $500 out of me. But the situation is interesting because she's constantly walking around like it's not just me, it's all her neighbors. Everybody can hear her because she's out on her deck. She's got her windows open. She yells about everything she's on the phone or on the internet doing because she wants everybody to know about it. And then she turns around and says that people are listening in. I told her again and again, look, man, I don't care about your Democratic Party stuff. This just like with the vaccination stuff or whatever else on the phone or on the emails before we talked. I said, look, I'm not in the Democratic Party. I don't care about it. Whatever you do, it's your thing. We got this other thing that we're supposed to be working on. Whatever you're doing on these calls, I don't care. It's nothing to do with me, man. I don't care. But I'll tell you this. The reason I went out there because that's where the table that you could eat at. So I ate at the table. And the reason I left as soon as she says her call was done didn't have anything to do with her call. It had to do with the fact that she walked inside. She was out on her deck having the conversation. As soon as she came inside where I would have to deal with her, I got up and went back into the room so I didn't have to listen to her. That was it. Nobody cares about your stupid conversations, including the people that you are having them with. So as far as this fella, let me know, Mr. Makalani, where you stand, because and at the end of the video, we're going to be putting out what Jenna Beck really thinks about these people. But I can tell you what she really thinks about you, homeboy. I can tell you what she said as soon as she was off the phone. She said it to me, and she would say it to the other people she called up. And once again, I'm not trying to listen in on her phone calls. She's constantly yelling about this stuff, so everybody has to hear her drama. She said you were easily controlled. She said that you were trying to press a candidate for questions and they didn't want to answer it, and you were pressing too hard, so she was able to control you and take you away from answering that question. When the first second she said that you were pressing this candidate for an answer, I got respect for you there. I don't even know you, but I got some respect, homeboy, because that's exactly what I want to hear out of somebody who's supposed to be questioning a candidate. And she says after that you're easily controllable and that she can control you. And she can direct you and get you to ask things and act in certain ways. I'll tell you one thing I did hear her say on that call to you that she said to me as well. She's been living in Southern California her whole life, but why did she call Mexican Americans Chiquinas and Chiquinos? She doesn't know what Chicano means. She said it right on this video that you heard earlier because she knows people are going to watch and rewind that. And it was still during the day. She wasn't drunk enough. She lets her real self slip out. But I heard her on her call with you. I'm not going to say any of the stuff that she said, like, oh, he was listening to personal Democratic business, because I don't care. I didn't listen, and I don't care. Even if I did know what that was, I don't care. But I heard her refer to Mexicans, Americans, as Chiquinas, and I heard her say later to myself and other people that you are easily controllable. So, homeboy, you get to decide who you want to be. You want to be a real OG leader that the young black and brown and the yellow homies can look up to and say, you're a person that we can trust, that can show us something? Or you want to be the safe Nigra for gals like Jill Stein and old Jenna Beck? Who do you want to be, homie? You want to be the person we look up to? Or you want to be the safe, smiling Nigra for these people? You make that call.
He was fucking eavesdropping on that phone call. And then today, I started getting followed by incarcerated podcasters. Could be a coincidence.
So one day, I'm in the back room, the kitty litter room, trying to do what I got to do, and we need to talk. So I come out and like, what's going on, man?
Who are these people, these incarcerated podcasters that are following me on Twitter now?
I don't know, Jenna. I've never heard of them before.
Well, why are they following me now?
I don't know, Jenna. Maybe because you're on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter.
Well, why are they all of a sudden following me now?
Jenna, I don't know. Probably because you put yourself out there that you're an activist.
Well, it's just weird.
And she walks off. Maybe a half hour later.
Who's this? Who is this following me?
I said, that's Greg McCarran from The Antidote. That's the guy who interviewed me. If you ever would have listened to any of the interviews or read the stuff that I sent you before I arrived, so you could have got up to speed instead of being a drunk, blithering, disgusting piece of trash, you would have known who he is. And I told you, you're fortunate to have that guy following you. He's a heavyweight. Jenna Beck tells people that the Republican Party is following her. The Republican Party of Orange County. She says the Democratic Party is following her. She said Karen Bernal and her mystery MPP, Jimmy Dore, whatever. She says everybody's following her. At one point, she tells me when we're sitting there, she's like, how do I know you're not a Republican plant that just came here to follow me? Wow. Okay. I met you online halfway across the country. I'm busy taking down these people and getting results by myself in my half-homeless state, and you and all your people with all your resources can't do nothing. You invite me to come out here, and then I'm the Republican Party operative who's stalking you? It ain't just, you're not crazy as in like you don't know what reality is. You know what's up. You know what you're doing. But you do have mental issues, some serious heavy-duty mental issues, compounding that with the fact that you're a miserable person who's led a miserable life, compounding that with the fact that for the past year you've just been sitting alone, isolated, in your disgusting, filthy, cat dookie house, drinking nonstop morning till night. You have lost your grip on reality.
So, this dude is a fucking clown. And totally took advantage of me. I took him up to Chinatown. I spent $60 on a lunch with tons of leftovers. We had tons of leftovers. He polished off all of the proteins within 2 hours of us getting back home. I got none of my leftovers. He polished off the veggies the next day. I got absolutely none of my leftovers. Not a bit.
This gets into a big problem here once again. This lush brain moron, detachment from reality. I told her before I ever got out there, there's nothing romantic going on between us. I'm there for business. Partly because I believe in that, and that's the way I roll. You do your personal on your personal time. I'm not like her running around having sex with every person who will have me in my little stupid political circles. I'm there to do business. I do my personal time on my personal time. So this was a big problem with her, though. The way she was treating me around her mama, the way she was doing these other things. She's treating us like we're boyfriend and girlfriend. We're going on dates. When I got there, we had an agreement. I'll be there for 2 weeks. It's Ramadan. I'm going to be quiet, not doing anything. I'm just going to be at the house, getting the lay of the land, building stuff up. The next 2 weeks, I'm going to be aggressively confronting Convo Couch, Slow News Day, and the other operators that are there in California. The agreement was she'd give me 3 rides into the city, into L.A. I needed to check out a gym to get my training camp going on because I got to get a fight and earn some money. I got to get connected with a few other things. I got a homie out there who had a Hollywood connect, and I had a connection with at a media outlet there, the news director there. So the first trip, we're going into, first it was supposed to be on one day, and then she kicks it back day after day after day after day because I'm telling you, she's drunk all the time. Everywhere she drives, she is completely sauced. Because she's drunk she's still hungover from when she wakes up the night before and just starts pounding immediately. So we get into the city, we go, I find the gym, I talk to them, they're like, yeah, come back next week. It sounds great. You just run your camp out of here. I'm like, at that point, I think the day is done. We're going back to her place, and she's like, you want to go down to Chinatown? And she knows I don't have any money, and I don't want to have to like make myself say that stuff, but I'm like, I don't think there's anything for me there. I don't really have any business there. And she's like, well, come on, we'll just go down there and we'll get something to eat. She knows I don't have any money to go tramping around Chinatown. She knows I don't have no money for no Chinatown dinner. I told her, I'm like, you know, if that's what you want to do, you're driving, but for me, it's okay if we just go back and eat the peanut butter and jelly. You cook yourself something, but I'm cool with the peanut butter and jelly. I don't need to go to, no, come on, let's go. And I want to get some stuff from my mom, and I want to show you this and that. So we go there, I order some food. I didn't eat all of it. When we got back to the place, I ate what was left of mine, and then she's like, why don't you just go ahead and have the other stuff? I'm not going to eat it. It'll just sit in there and get dry. So I ate that. I never asked to go to, you listen to the way she talks about stuff, man. I never asked to do that. I never wanted to go on any date with you. You were supposed to be putting in work because that's what you said you were there for, and you know that's what I was there for.
I've had to have conversations with him over the weekend that, look, You are not the only person who eats. I literally have to eat too. To sustain life. I literally have to eat too. He was polishing me off and kept promising that there's going to be money coming. Dude wanted me to drive his ass up to LA and then wait around for him for 2 hours while he did business with people that I'm not supposed to meet.
Okay, so like I said, we had agreed for 3 trips into LA. I'd been there 2 weeks. What I told you is what I told her previously. It's all in the emails. After those 2 weeks of Ramadan are up, I'm going to want to get at these people immediately and start confronting them. Now, the entire time I'm out there, that 2 weeks, Jenna Beck produced absolutely zero evidence that Karen Bernal is behind this, or all the crazy claims that she made about Tim and our revolution and like everything that she said that was not connected with the Democratic Party. She never produced a single lick of evidence on none of that. Nothing. But I'm true to my word. I got next to nothing. I got there with nothing. I've got her drunk, maniacal greaseball hanging all over me the whole time, giving me all this drama. And I still, to my word, within 2 weeks, to the day of when I arrived there, it was all set up. She had agreed that Saturday we were going to go into the city. I said, first thing, I've got an in with the news director at one of the major Los Angeles media platforms. I've got an in. I got to get in there for that on Saturday. Secondly, I got to go meet my guy in this in Venice, around the Venice Beach area, because he knows some Hollywood people. There's that connection. And he like really knows them. It's not like Jenna Beck with her weirdo Rose McGowan conspiracies and obsessions. This guy actually knows these people. Everybody knows they knows them. And then after that, Convo Couch, and I think Slow News Day, but at least probably Glory Jones, but guaranteed Convo Couch was at the Free Palestine rally. So in that one day, 2 weeks from the day that I arrived there, true to my word, we could have went up to LA, which was still a drive that you had agreed you would have done. I could have made that connection to got myself, which I'm glad it didn't happen because I would have been probably promoting a bunch of your lies. But you blew up the opportunity to get on a major, major, major Los Angeles media outlet straight from their news director. You blew up the chance to get in with the Hollywood people because they could have did something for us. And everybody wants to know why that phone keeps showing up there on the graphic. What's that phone? What's that phone? That phone is the phone that I had all my communications with Craig Pasta Fazul Jardula from Combo Couch on. So how everybody's saying I'm lying and I didn't really call him and we never had this. You idiot, Jenna Beck. You complete, drunken, disgusting numbskull. If you would have got your stupid head out of your you-know-where and sobered up long enough to make one trip, you could have sat there with your cell phone and recorded me with that phone that is on the screen right now. And I could have been scrolling through there and be like, what's up, Pasta? You said I was a liar? Well, here's all the conversation. Look at that. There's me and you dialing each other back and forth. Oh, here's the emails between us. Oh, here's where I sent you the files on those video footage. We could have confronted him. It could have been done in 2 weeks, Jenna. Everything that I said, I didn't even need to take the whole month. I could have dusted them fools off. What do you think they're going to do when I approach them on the street? It's not their manicured little studio setting, and they're going to have to answer. They wouldn't be able to do it. Plus, I've got the phone right there with the evidence, and you could have put it up there on your stupid undercover website. But you're a moron, and you're a fake, and you're a fraud, and you don't care about the truth getting out. As a matter of fact, your main priority is to keep a bunch of lies and deceptions going so that you can sit there in your drunken, maniacal state of complete inebriation in your cat litter box condo.
Men, we are not your maids. We are not your chauffeurs. And if you were staying with somebody under their good graces, you better fucking appreciate it.
So since that time, she's put out a whole series of videos about me. She cannot leave it alone because she's got nothing else going on in her life. I want to address a couple other things. One is she put out in her videos somehow that I was mean to her cat. I'm not going to go into all this stuff with her because it's just a nonstop torrent of issues with this individual. But just like with the hitting women, I take cruelty to animals really seriously. I was never cruel to her cat. Her cat loved me. Cat would run up, bump me once to pet, and I give him a good old scritchy scratch because I'm pretty good at that. And then Kitty, I'll stop, and Kitty will bump me more, once some more. Okay, I'll scritchy scratch him some more. But the thing about the cat was, he was in a bad state, like she said, but it's because his fur is all messed up. And she's like, well, I take him to get shaved a couple times a year, but right now, and like the cat is like got dreadlocked. His hair is dreadlocked. He's got dookie all in his back. It's a miserable deal for the cat. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, it's spring now. You said, why don't you take him? And she's like, well, it's, you know, because it costs like $130 or something. I'm like, you spend 2 or 3 times that on brown liquor alone each week. How do you not take care of this poor cat that you keep stuffed inside your house? And you're trying to tell me that he, like, I was mean to him and all this stuff. Man, you're like, I don't know what to say. Your cat wanted to hang out with me because you suck as a human being and you feed him. So I guess they got to deal with you, but you're cruel to your own animal, man. You don't take the cat to get shaved. And the real reason is, let's be honest, yeah, you're cheap and you don't want to spend the money, but the real reason is the why, even though you've been vaxxed, you still go on and you put out 2 masks and then wear your stupid face shield on top because you're drunk. You're completely drunk every time you leave your house. So you put all that stuff on so you hope people won't smell it on you. And that's why you don't want to take your poor cat, aside from the money, because you're cheap and you don't care if the cat's hurting or not, is because you're afraid you'll get busted at the, you know, the vet's office for being stone cold drunk in there and driving around. Now, as far as there's a few other people that need to get pulled into the loop on this. She wanted me to get a hold of this guy, Bill W., and he's Dr. Bill. Apparently, he's a big time part of the vaccine out there or whatever. And she kept telling me to call him, and I, you know, that's another thing. If you hear in her other videos, she keeps saying like he doesn't know what he's doing. I kept giving him all these contacts, and she says that, and then like, but when you hear in the newer videos now, she's saying I was trying to give him a bird's eye, you know, a glimpse into how the Democratic Party operates. I told her before I got out there, I don't care about the Democratic Party. And from what you've heard before and what I'm about to tell you now, you're going to see the reason she brought me out there had nothing to do with any of the stuff that she said it did, because she never produced anything, not a single shred of evidence about any of those wild claims that she had been making the whole month and a half I got out there. Stuff that she'd been saying on Brisson and other people's shows. So the real reason she brought me out there was obviously the physical stuff. She thought we were going to get with each other. That was never going to happen, you moron. And strutting around in your stupid bikini and your Daisy Dukes didn't do you no favors because you're garbage. So that was never going to happen. That was you trying to use your money and your position to manipulate me into a compromised position where you thought I was going to get with you. No dice. That roll came up snake eyes for you, numbskull. The second reason is you didn't have any evidence about any of the stuff that you claimed and all the stuff we were supposed to be talking about. You brought me out there to try and take down your Democratic Party rivals. They're not really your rivals because you're not a threat. You're just a crazed, drunken annoyance. But you stay in the game, so you've got enemies. And you brought me out there to try and take your enemies within your own party down. Now, for the people who are about to hear this right now, understand that every time Jenna Beck gets off the phone with one of you, she calls directly somebody. I was there, so she would she'd get off the phone with you guys, and then she'd start talking trash about you to me. When I kind of finally got her weaned off of that, I'm like, I don't want to hear it, because she's just drunk and she's got to be dramatic and got to keep her mouth running. And then she calls up other people. Like, she'll talk to you guys on the phone or on a Zoom call. She'll hop on another one and completely trash and tell the opposite thing to those people of what she just said to you, trashing you guys and whatever you had going on. Because she's not really an activist. She's not really a journalist. She's none of this stuff. She doesn't have any results. She's a drunk, miserable loser who uses political parties and things of that nature where people can't just get away from her because, you know, they're like, well, I don't want to deal with her anymore because work's got to get done, and she knows that. So she sticks around in these places where she knows she's guaranteed somewhat of a social circle. And as fast as she burns through the people that she's with, she'll always find some new suckers like me or whoever else to get up in there. Here's what she said. This Dr. Bill, the Vaxxer guy, she wanted me to get a hold of him. And I kept saying like, yeah, I'm interested in that. I'll have an interview with him. I'd like to interview him and, talk to him about this vax stuff, because she was basically telling me I needed to call him so he could convince me to take the vaccine. She's embroiled with all this stuff with our revolution as well as the Democratic Party. And what that should tell you guys is our revolution, MPP, and these other organizations, they're Dem exit organizations. They are like done in response to the people who are fed up with the Democratic Party. So if Jenna Beck is, because she says she's so against Dem exit and she's so against, she's true blue all the way Democratic Party, why is Jenna Beck hanging around and fooling around in these other organizations that are diametrically opposed to working with the Democratic Party? Because like I said, she's not an activist. She doesn't care about any of this stuff. It's just fuel for her personal drama. Now, when I said I was going to interview Dr. Bill, I was like, look, I'll do it fair. If he's as knowledgeable as you say, I want the real answers. I'll ask him hard questions, but I'm going to give him a chance to respond, and I'm going to give him a chance to lay out his information. I'd had this conversation with her over and over, and each time she would tell me, when are you going to interview him? I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to get around to it. She'd be like, well, but I don't know. Because now I don't know. I think you're going to anti-vaxxer him. And I'm like, we just had this discussion. We just had this discussion. That's not going to happen, Jenna. But this guy, she's telling me he's my mentor. Dr. Bill, he's my mentor. He's my mentor. And I heard her on one of her other videos recently put him down saying like, it's the patriarchy and the misogyny. They got to deal with it. What it really is there's this woman, Danette, who is now involved in some of the same circles that Jenna Beck is. And Danette is apparently bossing up, and she's taking control, and she's doing stuff that Jenna Beck can't or won't do. And Jenna Beck, just like with Karen Bernal, has all these crazy theories about Dr. Bill and this Danette. And what she told me was, first, she told me that Dr. Bill is whooped. I ain't going to use the first word that she said, but she said he's whooped by Danette. And what she wanted to do, she's like, I got to figure out a way. I'm contemplating how I can let his wife know that I think there's something going on, because it's not right. It's not natural, just the way that they're doing it. She's totally he's whipped by her. Then for this Danette woman, she said she caught her doing some illegal stuff. Jenna Beck gave me an entire script to go call the Orange County GOP and report Danette to the Orange County GOP for whatever, I have no idea if it's real or not, charges or illegal activities that Jenna Beck claims she has been a part of. And when we're doing that, I'm like, why don't you just call him, Jenna? This doesn't have anything to do with me. And she's like, I can't get traced back to me. I can't get traced back to me. I can't have it traced back to me. So she's on the phone with these people every day, so-called strategizing, so-called organizing, so-called networking to get these things done, which she never gets done because she's never got a result. There's not one result that person has ever had that she can point to. And as soon as she gets off the phone with them, not only is she running them down to the other people, but she's scheming as how she can take those people down. It's people that are supposed to be her friends. You notice how many people I've said this about? Every single person that I'm saying, that's her Los Amigos call or whatever. Her call that she does at night. She said she had this woman, Deirdre, that she was trying to get me to do an interview with Deirdre too. She interviewed Deirdre on her Undercover magazine thing, because they're doing interviews on there now. Deirdre, why don't you ask her what she said about you behind your back? Why don't you ask her what she thinks about your religion behind your back? Why don't you ask her what she really has to say about you and how she really feels about you and your contributions? Ask her what she says about you behind your back. Because every single person that she knows, as soon as their back is turned and as soon as they're out of earshot, she's running you down. That's just the way she is, man. I'm a person with next to nothing who is getting results that her and all her people together couldn't match. They don't have any results. She lies to me, uses me to get on this podcast. She has me come out to California knowing that I don't have any money. I get together by hook or by crook the last little bit I can get to get the plane ticket out there. She blows everything there. She wants to have a relationship. She doesn't want to confront the people that I actually came out there for. She's trying to get me to do her Democratic dirty work. There's so much more. There's so much more. There is so much more. And I've already taken up enough time I'm not going to deal with this no more. But what we can say is you can see that this person, she'll lie about being sexually assaulted. She's racist. She intentionally, and she admitted this, she intentionally works against the organizations that she says she's volunteering and organizing with. And you can listen to her weird little philosophy on why she does it, but the truth is she doesn't want to see these results get done. She doesn't care about any of this stuff. Every single person in her life is somebody to use to further her own drama. And after, I'm going to say one more thing here, I'm going to leave it at this. To give you an idea, if you hadn't peered enough into this individual's psyche, when we had her on the We Read the Document show, out of nowhere she pops up with, I can't even, you guys. Literally, I went to school with Rose McGowan. Literally. Nobody asked her about that. Nobody said anything about that. She just brought it up. And then every time I would talk to her on the phone, it would come up. By the time I got out to her house, there ain't a day goes by. There's not one day out of her miserable, brown liquor, brain-drenched life that goes by that she doesn't rant about Rose McGowan. Rose McGowan, you might want to get an investigator to look into some stalker stuff or something, homie, because she's constant, like every day, multiple times a day. First, it's about, because you guys went to high school and she's got beef there. She says, like, you were a racist in high school and you were a homophobe in high school and you were this and that and you came from a cult. And basically her claim to fame, what she likes to brag about is that you didn't have people to hang out with. So you tried to come over and sit with her crew. And she was like telling people, like, why do we let her sit with us? Why do we have anything to do with her? She's such a geek. She's so lame. She was on some Mean Girl stuff too. And she talks about it constantly. That's her claim to fame, is whatever went down in high school. And then now that you showed up back on the Jimmy Dore show, like, she is completely unhinged and obsessed with you, man. And one of the reasons that I knew that she was trying to get with me on some weird stuff was that one time I'm just sitting there on the couch trying to do what I got to do, and she brings out her high school yearbooks. Now, I know what's up, because the only time I want to see out of yearbooks is if a girl, okay, maybe she's really cool friend, but really if it's I like her, I'm into her, and I want to see what she was like before. I want to, it's interesting to me. What did you used to be like? You got baby pictures? Let me know who you really are. I really want to know, And that's the time I'll be like, well, do you have any, like, photo albums? You got yearbooks? Can I see who you were growing up? She pulls those things out and starts showing them to me, her middle school and her all this, her little fake Hollywood stuff. And right away I'm uncomfortable because I can tell, like, I never asked for this, man. And this is exactly the kind of thing I do if I actually cared about a female and I wanted to get to know her better. So there's that weird dynamic with it. But wouldn't you know, the real reason, on top of that she pulled out the books was so she could show that she showed your picture. She went to school with Rose McGowan. She really wanted me to know that. This person is living in an alcohol-fueled nightmare of bizarre behavior, disconnect from reality, and just plain mean-spirited, intentional tomfoolery, man. I'm trying not to cuss on here, but Jenna Beck, I haven't even hardly scratched the surface. I'm just addressing a bunch of the wackadoo stuff you put out there. I'm giving you 24 hours. You take down everything that you put up about me. You take down everything that has my name in it. You send me you forward to me, because you have my email, every piece of media that you put out about me, so I can see what other lies you were telling about me, and we'll take it from there. Because I guarantee you, if 24 hours, if that stuff ain't taken down and you haven't gotten at me to let me know what you said about me behind my back, first thing is I'm going to start dropping a bunch of more truths about you. And if you thought you ain't going to have no friends after this one, forget about it, man. Forget about it. You ain't going to have nobody who counts or of any consequence will ever call you friend. Hopefully. But when I drop that new stuff, it's going to be all bad for you. And after that, I'm just going to have to get a hold of a lawyer, because you're lying and you're breaking the law on a number of levels here. So you keep on telling people that you were raped. You keep on telling people that you've been assaulted. You keep on telling people that you did dirty. We'll see each other in court.